Would you take a job that comes with a relentless daily workload, a lot of pressure, low pay, and the risk of threats, harassment, and even violence? For many mayors, that's the reality in Germany.
Ich habe es schon erlebt, dass ich bedroht
I've been threatened, targeted and insulted. I've even received death threats.
Morddrohungen.
Since 2024, we've met officials in local governments across Germany and the people supporting them, finding out how the burden on the country's mayors is impacting democracy. Mayors are more than local politicians. They are the backbone of local democracy, especially in smaller towns like this one. They are active members of local society, but they also decide on schools, housing, which roads are fixed and which aren't, things that directly shape people's daily lives. Germany is one of the most decentralized democracies in Europe. About 11,000 municipalities form the foundation of the political system, and each is led by a mayor. That's why they are considered a bridge between the people and politics, which makes them the face of the distant government in Berlin. And it means sometimes having to stand up for decisions that aren't necessarily their own. Decisions that can lead to public frustration, which is addressed directly at the mayor. This is Joris Steg, a sociologist from the University of Wuppertal, studying violence in the public sphere.
What we are in fact witnessing is that people working in the service of society are increasingly being attacked. And unfortunately, something in our society really has gone seriously wrong.
A long-term survey among local politicians found that nearly half had experienced some form of violence in recent years. Erik Lierenfeld knows what this feels like. He's a social democrat and mayor in Dormagen in North Rhine-Westphalia. For him, occasions like the one he's going to, a citizenship ceremony, is a pleasant one. But his open stance on refugees and migration doesn't go down with everyone. And it's not the only topic that has made him a target.
Receiving a death threat is something that definitely affects you personally. I experienced it back when it was really intense during the COVID-19 restrictions, and it really made me think because I was just doing my job. And when you're then attacked and threatened for it, it does affect you. And you start to question whether what you're doing is right. Then you have security consultations with police, where they advise you to change your normal daily routine, and you definitely feel restricted in your life.
Und dann fühlt man sich schon eingeschränkt in seinem Leben.
More than 6 out of 10 local politicians said that they have changed their behavior due to growing hostility. Psychologist Mercedes Mende has specialized supporting mayors feeling the pressure for the past 10 years.
Die meisten kommen, wenn sie spüren.
Most of them come when they sense physical symptoms setting in, when sudden doubts, fears and insecurities arise that weren't there before.
Entwickelt, die man davor nicht hatte.
Statistics back that. Surveys show widespread stress among local politicians in Germany. More than 80% report psychological issues such as depressive mood or sleep disorders due to verbal and physical attacks. 1 in 10 is even considering not running again. When we met Wiebke Sahin-Schwarzweller, mayor of Zossen, a town near Berlin, she told us about the personal hostility she faced on the campaign trail.
During my election campaign, the atmosphere in Zossen was very extreme. For example, the issue of Islam arose, with people asking if the new mayor was going to Islamize Zossen. That's because my husband is of Turkish origin. But what is still very difficult, and increasingly so, and I notice it in the political climate, is the slander.
Verbal and physical attacks leave their trace not only on the person themselves, but also on political life.
When you reach the point where you have to cancel events, when you feel like you're being bullied, when you can no longer freely express your own opinion in public, then democracy is no longer working.
More and more communities in Germany are without a mayor. A public broadcaster found that in Rhineland-Palatinate and Baden-Württemberg, a fifth of all communities didn't have a single candidate for mayor during the last local elections in 2024. No one wants to run for the post anymore. For smaller communities, this can mean that someone from a higher political level might jump in to fulfill the role of mayor, but they are difficult tasks for someone who is not part of the local community. And fewer candidates mean fewer choices, and that can frustrate people even more. So why is this happening? One reason is that in Germany, the general tone in political debates has shifted in recent years, becoming more aggressive, locally but also in the national parliament. The number of calls to order in the Bundestag has risen significantly, with many directed at the far-right populist Alternative for Germany, or AfD.
Chancellor of Lies.
When you listen to speeches in the Bundestag and see how aggressive the atmosphere can become, I can hardly watch it. It gets that heated. Politicians should be aware of their role as role models.
A property of Michael Müller, a local politician in Thuringia, was targeted by arson in 2024. This comes as no surprise to Joris Steg. He says public frustration with decision makers has been growing over the past years.
Erstens die sogenannte Flüchtlingskrise. In dieser Krise hat
First, there's this so-called refugee crisis. Some people believe the state failed to fulfill its promise to protect its people and there was a perceived loss of control. Then, secondly, there is the COVID-19 crisis, which had a profound impact on everyone. Many people died. The fundamental promise to protect us could not be fulfilled. And third, there is the ongoing economic crisis with rising inflation. They look at gas prices, at rising housing costs, and the fact is that, in the view of many, the state is not really fulfilling its promise of material and social security.
Eben das Versprechen auf materielle und soziale Sicherheit nicht wirklich einlöst.
Mayors, as the closest representatives of government, become the target of this frustration. And of course, there are the personal costs of the job itself. It entails lots of working hours, also in the evenings and at weekends. Balancing limited financial budget with infrastructural deficits. Overwhelming bureaucracy and growing expectations from the public. In addition, in some towns with a population below 2,000 people, the mayor works voluntarily. Being a mayor becomes a job on top of another job, with no salary, but some compensation for expenses. More than half of Germany's mayors work like this. Small wonder that few are willing to step up to the plate, while so many are suffering burnout. One mayor who speaks openly about his experience of overwhelm in politics is Philipp Lotter. He has never been threatened, but suffered from stress.
I already had trouble sleeping. I also had episodes of vertigo when there was just too much going on at any given time.
Which is where support comes in from people like Mercedes Mende.
Mir ist einfach wichtig, dass es Bürgermeister gibt, weil wenn es keine Bürgermeister mehr...
What matters to me is that there are mayors, because if there are no mayors anymore, the very foundation of democracy will collapse. And I think that especially people who are willing to take on public responsibility need a protected space where they can gather their thoughts and figure out how to manage everything, how to bring together the different interests and make sure they themselves don't fall by the wayside.
Interessen auch zu vereinen und zu gucken, dass ich dabei nicht auf der Strecke bleibe.
Philipp Lotter has managed to cope with the stress on his own by taking breaks, spending time in nature and with his family. But he wants people to be aware that mayors especially should get help if needed.
I can only advise anyone to find a way to balance things. Being a mayor is extremely demanding and you need balance so you can develop new ideas, concepts or strategies. Taking regular time out is essential and it benefits the office.
Without these men and women taking up mayoral roles, democracy is at risk. Local political leadership plays an important role in shaping public perceptions of responsibility and accountability. Where mayoral offices are vacant or weakened, politics can seem more abstract and less accessible to people, ultimately affecting political trust and participation.
If there is no one left on the ground actively taking care of things, that can already lead to a lot of frustration and disappointment. And then the question is whether we'll see an even greater increase in that very harsh and aggressive way of interacting with each other, like the kind we're already experiencing now.
So what's the answer? Mayoral associations in Germany would like to see more financial relief for volunteer mayors. But they also want more general support in local administration and a reduction in bureaucracy. They would also welcome more appreciation from the public for the position of mayor. In the end, those who love doing the job should not be pushed out of it for fear of violence or of being overwhelmed. The job should be enjoyed as what it's meant to be, an opportunity to shape society locally.